Welcome back to Dark Fury Patriot, where we don't sugarcoat the truth, where we damn sure don't hide or bow to the mob. If you're fed up with the lies and the chaos and the hypocrisy, and then the so-called progress tearing this country apart, you're in the right place. Today, we'll be talking about long and hard about the state of California, not just the state, but the warning sign it represents for all of America. But before I talk about California, let's talk about Albany, New York. Okay? Yesterday, New York for all closed down Washington Avenue for hours. Park Street also shut down. Why? This New York for All coalition, let me tell you what they're all about, and it's not a peaceful anything. All right? A peaceful protest. Okay, fine. A peaceful protest would be in Washington Park or at another park. All right? It wouldn't be shutting down the street, allowing people, of which I'll show you firsthand, lying in the street, sitting in the street, dancing in the street, playing musical instruments in the street. All right? I do believe that's a violation of, in my opinion, of motor vehicle and traffic law. All right? Which I'll dive into deeper in a moment. But let me tell you what's going on yesterday. The whole reason why this group from New York City, mostly, came to Albany, more than likely closed the street without a permit, having officials describe themselves not just as a assemblywoman, not just a Democrat, but a socialist Democrat. In this day and age, it's not good enough to describe yourself as a Democrat. All right, but you got to go so far in calling yourself, throwing that buzzword in there with socialists. And you know what? It's a real thing, apparently. What's next? Are we going to have Democratic communists next? You know what? But let's back up a little bit and let's talk to you about my general message in this video. I am not a hateful person. I have nothing against legal immigration. You all know that I am not a Native American. I look nothing like a Native American. My ancestry, my dad's side was German. My mom was Polish. And beyond that, my great-grandparents, of who I did know, came from Latvia and Lithuania. All right? So that is my lineage, and you know, I mean, I just don't understand. I mean, my family came here legally, the correct way. And when we came here to America, we didn't ask those Americans to buy our lunch, didn't ask them to house us, didn't ask or beg for hospitalization. And we certainly did not ask those Americans to educate our children. All right? But essentially, this New York for All, they come up here from New York City, and their whole effort and their scope and focus is to limit or restrict law enforcement. New York State Police Department, even New York employees, to restrict them from working with Homeland Security, ICE, and even the Trump administration. Because in the former administration, known as the Joe Biden circus, all right, he and laughing word salad Kamala Harris let 20 million people who did not belong here into our country. And you know what? I have nothing against legal immigration, totally. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't. And I would welcome anybody from any corner of the world into America. But you gotta do it legally, like I did, and so many of you have also done. All right? So, I mean, these people, I mean, it's true what Donald Trump said in 2016. They're bringing crime, they're bringing chaos. I mean, these people are just nasty. I mean, you take a look at, we'll touch on that a little bit more, but take a look at California. You think it's a peaceful protest to have a Mexican on a motorcycle or a motorbike holding a Mexican flag, circling a car that is engulfed in flames? Does that sound like a peaceful protest? And getting back here close to home in Albany, New York, does people lying in the street, dancing in the street, playing musical instruments, everything from a trombone to a snare drum to a French horn, all right, and in the middle of the street, Washington Avenue. Does that sound remotely peaceful? Blocking traffic, blocking apparatus, emergency vehicles, that there was a need for emergency apparatus? Does that sound peaceful? No. And then, you know, leaning on the coattails of a assemblywoman who is Democratic and socialist, as she points out quite proudly. I mean, the whole thing is like the Twilight Zone. I mean, if you want a peaceful protest, fine. And you know what? It's fine. Every week there's some circus that comes to town. And they're ranting and raving about this or that. Because you know what? There's a common theme here. They're all victims. All right? Or they're crying crocodile tears for victimhood. All right? And, you know, as you're about to see here, they're crying about employers will lose their workforce. Well, let's talk about that a little bit more. Losing their cheap labor is more like it. These people are being taken advantage of. They're not making an appropriate wage. And neither are the non-speaking English people who work at Walmart, which I'm sure you all have come in contact. And you go to ask them a question. They're wearing a smock that says, "May I help you, please? Welcome to Walmart." And you talk to them and they look at you like a Cocker Spaniel would look at you when you're trying to talk to it. They don't understand. Those people aren't legitimate either. They're no more should be here than anybody else who's legal. All right? But that's what that whole shit show, that whole circus, this whole entourage from New York City was all about. New York for all. They're trying to limit the state police, police officials, even state employees from working with or negotiating with the federal government to get rid of the illegal citizens who are creating chaos. And they are creating chaos. Donald Trump was absolutely right in 2016 when he had some things to say about very controversial things. They're not so controversial anymore. Take a look at California. Take a look at what they're trying to do here. When does it end? And what does it lend itself to? All right, today they're talking about, don't work with, the Trump administration and these poor people, and what happens if he goes to work and he never comes home, or what happens if the missus goes to work and she never comes home because she was taken into custody because she doesn't belong here, because she made an inappropriate choice when she or he crossed into the United States illegally. You're either a country or you're not, like Donald Trump says. All right? So they violated our sovereignty. That is a crime. All right? And they are creating chaos and havoc. Take a look at Colorado. The Venezuelan gangs who come here. Aurora, Colorado, to be precise, where they took over a whole town, took over a whole apartment complex. I mean, I'm a dad. I'm also a grandfather. All right? I cherish my children. I cherish my grandchildren. All right? And just put yourself in my shoes for a moment. Thank God it hasn't happened to me. But what happens, you raise your child, and they're an adult. They go out in the workforce. Then they get killed at the hands of a criminal. People who aren't even supposed to be here. What does that make the mom and dad? It makes them an angel mom and dad. All right? They lost their children because they got killed by someone who wanted a pack of cigarettes and didn't have no money. All right? Walked into a 7-Eleven, or even local, a Stewart's. All right? That's the reason why these people wear those buttons on their shirt to alert authorities. And this is happening all over the place. I mean, started off with Kate Steinle in California, shot and killed walking with her father on the pier by an illegal who was deported 5 times previous. All right? These people just don't belong here. They live in despicable conditions, have no values. They live in squalor, all right, in foreign countries. And they come here and they turn California into what was. All right? Take a look at I can't tell you how many, incidents of car fires I have witnessed on the news. And, the narrative on the TV is just, don't believe in someone else's narrative and make it your own, because these people want you to believe their narrative. All right? That's what they're trying to do. They're anti-American, anti-Trump. All of them, every single one of them have TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. Every last one of them. So, including NBC, CBS, and ABC, and even the soft-spoken words of NPR. Okay? Including even PBS. All right? Which used to be fantastic when I was growing up. Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, The Electric Company, wonderful stuff. Now, I am not hateful at all. I have nothing against anyone, anywhere. All right? But if you come to my country, all right, you gotta do it legally. Because, the consequence is what the Trump administration is doing right now. He's sick and tired of being sick and tired of watching these people just create havoc. I mean, these people are, many of them, animals. They belong in a zoo. They don't belong free walking around, doing what the hell they want to do. You know, walking down the street angry, smashing windows. I mean, the View on the TV. Creating all kinds of looting, getting an Apple iPhone for free, Adidas sneakers for free, walking down the street with your skateboard, smashing windows as you go. I mean, this is what happens in another country. It doesn't happen here. What the hell is going on? So, and then Gavin Newsom of California, I'm going to sue the Trump administration. He doesn't have any authority. You know what? He's the frickin' president. All right? No one said boo when Barack Obama got the National Guard involved. No one said nothing. And yes, Donald Trump is in his legal right to bring the National Guard from California to the chaos that is Los Angeles. All right? And if he didn't do that, these federal buildings standing there as representatives of the freedom and the American way would be nothing but ash. All right? Because that's what these people do. They burn, burn, burn. All right? That's what they do. So that's tough that the National Guard was there and the entourage of the Marine Corps also set to go in. And let me tell you something. It will end one way or another, hopefully without any death. But I guess I've been hearing some of that too in California. I mean, these people are nasty. Watching the news and the vulgarity and the anger and the hate, they just don't want to act accordingly. All right, they want to do what the hell they want to do, and create chaos and no rules, and and I want to be free. I can do whatever the hell I want. Well, no, you can't. All right, and that's not a peaceful protest by any stretch of the imagination. Neither was here closer to home in Albany, New York. A peaceful protest would have been going to Washington Park. All right? There's only a handful of these fools, in the street. There was no big conglomerate from New York City, maybe 30, 40 people, which I'll show you in a moment. All right? Washington Park can hold many people. Many hundreds of people. All right? So, I mean, it's just, when you close a city street without authorization, which very could well be a violation of motor vehicle and traffic law, that, you can't go closing streets. That's not part of your rights. All right? That's actually civil disobedience. All right? Traffic can't get through. Traffic was an absolute nightmare going home. All right. And you had CDTA buses, tractor trailers. I mean, big vehicles going down a little street, and they're channeled, which is a one-way street, by the way. Coming down, I believe it's Central Avenue, taking a left. And then they're channeled back onto Lark Street. And when I went home, must have been a dozen CDTA buses on Lark Street, heading back towards Central Avenue, with various destinations. But they all were channeled on Lark Street because they couldn't go down Washington Avenue because it was roped off initially by the same crew from New York City. They're wearing yellow smocks, and they're, directing traffic with those orange, flags. These people aren't professionals. They don't work for the highway department. All right? It was like somebody dressed up as a clown, with a smock and orange flags directing traffic as if they know what they're doing. All right? They have no idea what they're doing. All right? And then one truck went right through it. Almost practically ran the guy over. And then Albany PD showed up. And that wasn't good enough either. Then another car comes racing down the street, Albany PD. And, that wasn't good enough either. So they brought a big old garbage truck. All right? Replacing the individuals, replacing the clowns that weren't supposed to be there in the first place and know nothing about directing traffic. All they do is point that way with an orange flag. You're not properly trained to, do that. All right? Somebody could have been seriously hurt. So, and of course, it's allowed. Why? Because we're in a blue state with a blue governor and a mayor. Not quite as bad as Karen Bass out of California, but in my opinion, just as clueless, just as lost. All right. So anyway, and we are on the right side of the issue. Look, I'm not hateful. I don't hate these people. I just find them to be a little bit, incorrect. I mean, a lot incorrect. You come here, you're not supposed to be here. A lot of you are creating havoc. A lot of you are, murdering Americans. You're just creating chaos. And that's not what we want. We want the best. We want the brightest. We want the most intelligent. You want to, melt into the melting pot of America, have great jobs, and make us greater than ever before. Great. Come here legally. Get educated if you're not already educated, and come here and join the workforce. But don't come in as a we're not your zookeepers, okay? You come here and, you want us to feed you and hospitalization. You want us to educate your children. I mean, it's, American taxpayer is not your banker, all right? So, I mean, we're not going to do this no more. And these efforts will continue, all right? And we'll be victorious. The Trump administration will be 100% victorious. Homeland Security will be absolutely victorious, and so will Tom Home and Advice. I mean, look, you saw the chaos on the fake news media in California. What's been going on? Multiple car fires in California. You think that's a peaceful protest? And getting back closer to home in Albany, New York, do you think blocking off a city street in an unorganized and unofficial fashion doesn't break any motor vehicle and traffic law and is considered to be a peaceful protest while you're literally looks like you're sleeping in the street, dancing in the street? I mean, having musical instruments such as I said before, the trombone, snare drum, even a French horn. I mean, give me a break. I mean, you want a peaceful protest, take it over there to Washington Park and say what you got to say and be gone. Don't come to Albany, New York and around the Capitol every, Tuesday and bitch and moan about the victims that you represent. Because without victims, you people wouldn't exist on the left. You would be, you would have nothing to say about anything. Because you always need a victim. You're all about victimhood. All right? How about you go about it legally, like my family and your family out there did it? All right? Came through Alice Island. We didn't ask to be fed. We didn't ask for your taxpayer dollars to buy us housing. We didn't ask for taxpayer dollars to, educate your children. All right. It's incredibly facetious. It really is. Yeah, you have some set coming into the United States like you are, and, thumbing your nose at the Americans in California, Los Angeles, the city of angels here, right? And walking around with a Mexican flag, spreading chaos, like I said, looting. I mean, getting on to California. Karen Bass is the worst mayor in America. All right? I mean, I wouldn't say that the Albany mayor is as bad as Karen Bass, but, I have issues with her too. Doing things and, not going about it correctly. Even my own mayor, right? Who is Republican, has a, definite, wouldn't do the things I would do in the way I would do them. I mean, where are the potholes in Troy? Send us a message, in the committee. You know what? Get in your car, take a drive anywhere, and you'll find out. Out of touch. But yeah, Karen Bass is, just absolutely, that's what happens when you're a community organizer. Sound familiar? Community organizer? Clueless? And you want to run for political office and you're mayor of Los Angeles? I mean, this is the same woman. The same woman. All right? That, went ahead and hired that fire chief, DEI initiative. All right? She didn't know anything about being a fire chief. She didn't even, the DEI is going to be great to help you feel better about yourself and, emotionally secure and all that, but they ain't going to do nothing for if you're walking around with no skill. I mean, you're a fire chief and you don't know, there's nothing upstairs about, what a fire chief should know, especially having water and a fire hydrant. What a concept. I mean, California fires, sorry, can't help you. There's no water in the fire hydrant. Oops. And then, all the things. I mean, she's a Democrat. All Democrats suck. They don't do anything for America. They never did. And if they really want to, and I hope not, but if they want a civil war, you know what? You ought to take a look at the first time there was a civil war. You lost miserably, all right? And you'll lose miserably again if it comes to that. I really hope it does not. But you don't have a snowball chance in hell, okay? Really, you should think about it. Because, So, and then you have her boss, Gavin Newscum. The guy looks like a sleazeball on TV. He is a sleazeball. All right? Well, I'm going to sue the Trump administration because you did something that I don't like. Like, call the California National Guard into hell to quell the riots and all the other, animals from throwing rocks. And what they do is they, bring a cinder block in a bag, chop it up, stomp on it, whatever, break it up with a hammer, and then throw these pieces of cinder block at police, at the California Highway Patrol, at the sheriff, at military personnel, such as the California National Guard, and then the Marine Corps is going to be set to going in too. You know what? Good luck with that. And then Karen Bass thinks she did something good. Oh, I'm going to do a curfew so that, all the animals are behind, they're no longer roaming the streets after a certain hour. You think that's, a little bit too late. Maybe if your citizens weren't so angry all the damn time, every opportunity they get, they loot. And you had one guy I saw on TV Literally, he had a skateboard, and he's walking down a road and takes his skateboard and smashes every window that he can see. I mean, why? Get him out of here. You know what? And keep him out. I'm so sick and tired of it. This country, is this gonna... if Donald Trump didn't do what he did to quell this chaos, these federal buildings would be nothing more than their foundation. All right? Because they look at the federal buildings and they see... it's the way these people think. It's a federal building. No, that's Donald Trump standing there. I can't kill him. I can't do anything against him, so I'm going to kill what he represents. How immature. Really. And all these people who come from these other countries, that's what it is like there. They live in filth and squalor in there. They have no values. They don't have American values, that's for sure. And they come here and they just repeat what they know, which is, chaos and hate and anger and evil and, it's, the national media, the drive-by media. All right. Oh, it's a peaceful protest. One guy, Channel 7 at ABC out of Los Angeles. Oh, they're just having fun. Burning cars is fun. It's just, they just, everybody knows. Everybody knows, or at least they should know. The Democratic Party sleeps with the libtards and nutjobs. All right? They do. Media, Democratic Party, they're bedfellows, okay? So, it's just anti-American. It's MAGA this, MAGA that, and America. What is wrong with that? A damn thing wrong with that. Why do they need to be so angry in the first place? You just coexist? Why do you need to, here in Albany, New York, why do you need to close down a city street? Oh, we want to put a face into what's going on there, so people who are angry, and we want them to know who we are and why you can't go where you want to go as you normally do every other day of the week. We're going to close the city street because, we're going to make changes. You know what? This bill, this whole thing, this New York for all is a joke. And it will fail. For the reasons that the newscast that you just watched from Spectrum News says. These people are not going to circumvent their political careers for these clowns. Next year they're going to be elected again. There's no way. Not the general. There might be a few supporters of this monkey business. All right, but by and large, people are not going to support that. Case in point, you take a look at the election. All right, Donald Trump had more coverage than Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T combined. Take a look at the election map. All right, Kamala Harris, she's going to win because you got that blue wall. That blue wall was shattered, more like a red wall. All right, few states voted Democratic. Vermont, of course, Bernie Sanders, of course, blue. But anyway, so I appreciate all you for watching. And welcome back to, by the way, I haven't made a video since I went on vacation, which is very peaceful, and I'll share some photos maybe going forward of my vacation. But I do want to thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.